Hey, it's Jeff with Treeline Sports, and welcome back to another edition of Milsurp Rifle Series. And today we're going to be discussing the Yugoslavian M48. The M48 was designed in 1948, and it was produced by Yugoslavia from 1950 all the way through to 1965. This gun is very similar to the K98. However, I must stress, it is not a K98. It is only similar. It's actually designed after the FN Model 24, 1924 Mauser. It is somewhat of a Mauser design, but not made by any of the Mauser plants that you're probably familiar with. There was some confusion for the M48 being a troop-issued rifle for Germany, and that is absolutely not the case. This gun was made after the war, hence 1948. And it does share a lot of the properties of the K98, but it was not actually a German-made weapon. If we look at these closely, and I have three representations today for you of the M48. One is a makeup of our own of a sniper variant, and the other two are basic M48s. Now, these that we have are in absolutely pristine condition. And you'll find these rifles to be in this kind of condition. Yugoslavia did check their rifles every 5 years in storage, re-grease them, and put them back away. So typically you'll find these to be in great shape. I have seen some of the ones that were earlier made where you'll actually have a crest, these being the M48A, to be in a little bit rough shape. But the ones that we have for you today are in fact gorgeous. I'm going to bring one up to the camera a little closely so you can see it, and I want to discuss just a few of the differences that you'll find between the M48 and the K98K. Number one, right off the bat, is the handguard. The handguard, as you can see, the wood goes all the way down to the receiver, and a K98 will not do that. It stops up here. Additionally is the bolt. The bolt is turned down, indicating that it is an M48 and not an M24. However, you'll notice that the bolt is half mooned, if you will, or the ball is shaved off. This you will not find on a Kar98. That would have been a full ball. And of course, the bolt is not interchangeable with a K98. As well as the barrel is actually about 5 inches shorter, maybe 6 inches shorter than the Kar98. They do both share the 8mm Mauser, the 8mm Mauser being 7.92 by 57, so it does shoot the same cartridge. And of course, it does not have that signature circle that you'll find in the stock on a Kar98, which was used for bolt disassembly. The bolt operates almost identically, and we'll cover that, to the K98, but I just want to stress these were not German-made or German-issued, and there was a lot of misconception on the internet early when these came in. These were brought into the United States roughly about the 1990s, when Yugoslavia was still a country in itself, and we imported a lot of these. There was about 1.5 million of these manufactured, and they did serve in various battles and are still used in ceremonials today in certain countries. So great rifles. They do, are powerful because it's the 8mm Mauser. Hey, go get yourself one. These are great. They are accurate shooters. I will also point out one thing. The bores on these are not chrome lined. So when you shoot these, especially if you're using Milsurp ammo, be sure to clean your bores out really, really well, because that can suffer tremendously. So just know that. Now, something else you'll find on these, they all should have a hood on them, and these hoods, like the K98, attach right to the front. However, these are kind of clipped in. If you wanted to get these off, and I don't recommend that, but if you wanted to get these off, you almost need a pair of chain pliers to pry this open and get them off. You'll see when you go to take it off, there's like a hook system in here that actually attaches to the front sight. Again, I love these hoods. I think they're great. but just know if you want to get them off, they can be removed, but can be a bit difficult. Since we're talking about the bore and it not being chrome lined, I also want to point out you'll find a cupped butt plate on these, and these are noted as being stainless steel. However, I have found these to rust, especially out in the field if you've used them in the snow, or like today we have a dim day, could get a little wet out here. Clean these up. They can get stained. I don't know what the material, obviously steel, but they do suffer from rusting, so be careful with that. The other thing, these do utilize a tangent sight, and that tangent sight is marked off in meter increments. Now this gun, like most, including the K98 rifles, do not have a way to easily adapt for windage. The only way you could potentially adapt for windage would be to remove this hood and then drift your front sight left to right, depending on which way you needed to move striking. So just know, no easy way to adapt for windage on these. I have found these to be pretty accurate right out of the box. A lot of these came in through a company called Mitchell Mauser, and they brought a lot of these in, and they had them in absolutely phenomenal condition. But again, know that your front sight will have to be adjusted if you are off. Now, since we talked about Mitchell Mauser and what may have been issued with this, so troops or the gun would have come with a bayonet, and the bayonet would have had a frog on it, and of course, as we mentioned before, frogs are utilized to hold the scabbard to your belt, and thusly removing the bayonet. Wow, that's really in there. Hold on. There we go, it was captured. Anyway, you pull that out, and there's your bayonet. Now, if we look at the bayonet, you'll notice that it has a wooden handle. Again, another difference between the M48 and the Kar98k. The Kar98 obviously had a Bakelite handle, not wood. And these bayonets will absolutely not fit on your Kar98, nor will a Kar98 bayonet fit on your M48. So just know, if you're looking to add accessories, get the right thing, and that's what you want to look for. You sometimes will find, like this one, there are markings on the bayonet, and these are relatively easily found because of their late production. You can find these you know, online. So anyway, just know that. And if anybody has any questions or wants to see an up-close shot of anything, feel free to ask. And of course, like most Milsurp guns, you would have been issued or would have come with a cleaning kit. The kit that I have, I do have the leather pouch. However, the only thing that I have to go with the M48s that I brought is the oil solvent bottle. These are kind of interesting. You've seen these before with other oil solvent bottles from Milsurp guns, but it's a split bottle, one side being filled with your solvent, other side being filled with your oil. Pretty neat, good to have. Keep it all together with your kit. If you're looking for one of these, be sure to pick one of these up as well. Now today we're going to be shooting the Privy Partisan round. I also brought some Milsurp stuff, which again I believe to be Egyptian for the Hakim rifle. But I do like the Privy soft point. This is a 197 grain round, again 7.92 by 57, and I'll bring that up to the camera closely so you can see the size of this round. You can judge from my fingers, but that is your 8mm Mauser round. Very powerful round. Great for whitetail on up. You could potentially even hunt black bear with these. Don't know how it would do on moose. A lot of you guys that are out there using this, let me know. I'd be curious to know what kind of success you've had with this round, but it is certainly powerful, performed very well in the battlefield. across Europe as well as other countries. But today we're talking about the M48. Now the M48 did serve in several battles. It served in the Iran-Iraq conflict, and you'll find it, like I said, even used today. I believe Indonesia still uses it as a ceremonial piece. I don't think anybody's actually using it as a battle rifle today, but certainly it was used. Now the M48 was manufactured as an M48A originally. There was also an M48B, there was an M48 double B, and an M48B0 or BO. The ones, there was no, and I've researched this, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, there was no sniper variant developed for the M48. However, if you do like to accurize your guns, this is a great way to do it. This is actually a B-square mount. There is a company in Pennsylvania called S&K Mounts that make a similar design, and it allows you to put a pistol scope or long eye relief scope forward where the rear tangent sight would have been. And again, this does not require any gunsmithing whatsoever. You can simply remove the rear sight by driving the pin out and then replacing those pins with set screws that come with this mount. You'll have to balance it or level it, and you'll have yourself a forward mounted scope, so it acts somewhat like a sniper rifle. Neat way to do it. Just thought I'd share. Again, M48 did not come, to my knowledge, as a sniper, but hey, if you want to set it up that way, you want to shoot accurately, certainly if you want to hunt with it and make that pristine shot, this is a great system to get. Now, as always, I like to go over the functionality of the gun before we actually go out and shoot it. This gun is a 5-round box magazine. This gun would have been loaded using a stripper clip, and if we look at the gun closely, you'll see a groove, or 2 ears if you will, where the stripper would feed into, and you would simply put the stripper into those grooves and then thumb your rounds down accordingly, and that would load 5 rounds into your box. You could hold that last round down and then add a 6th round, so this would give you 6 rounds just like the K98 would do as a maxed out piece. Now, the one thing that you'll find typically with the Yugoslavian rifle, they did oversize things. They really make their rifles beefy, and you'll find that to be the case with the M48 as well. This gun actually weighs 8.5 pounds, kind of heavy for a bolt, but also very solid. And something else that I find interesting, the bolt follower will not stop the bolt. So if you're throwing your rounds down range and you lose count and you're just not paying attention, you don't feel the difference, you can potentially close an empty chamber. So be aware of that. Always keep in mind how many rounds you fired to keep track, especially with this rifle, because it does not have a stoppage for that last shot. Now we're going to go ahead and shoot these guns, but as I always like to do is go over the safety with you guys. And again, this gun will operate as most Mausers do, exactly the same way, but let's go ahead and cover it. We obviously can see there's no round in the chamber. I'm going to go ahead and close the bolt, and you'll notice the gun is now in the cocked position and the gun is in the fire position. So when this lever right here is pointing the opposite way of your bolt, you are in the fire position. If we take this lever for safety and we move it straight up and down as such, we're now in what's called half safe. And half safe will allow you to take the bolt out, you can remove it, and then you can disassemble your bolt. So half safe is basically for disassembly. It also will not allow the firing pin to engage, or the gun will not fire. The last position, if we move the safety lever into the same direction as though you were the shooter, as the bolt, both pointing the same way, This now locks the bolt in place, so we cannot remove the bolt. And again, the bolt is in a safe position. So to simply put it in the fire position, you move your safety again, opposite direction. We know the chamber is empty. We're going to go ahead and do this for demonstration purposes. You can see now the firing pin will engage and the gun would have went off had they been around. So know your firearm, know how to put it in safe. And as I always tell you guys, when shooting any weapon, new or milsurp or whatever, always know what you're shooting at, what's going to stop that round, and what may be behind you. And hey, nobody gets hurt. Let's go ahead and have some fun and start shooting this guy. One last factoid and piece of information I totally forgot to tell you guys. The M48 typically will come and should come with a cleaning rod, this piece right here. And if you unthread this, you'll find it to be very short, and that is what's referred to as a gangable rod. So you would have two other rifles or two of your buddies with you with their cleaning rods, and you can thread them together and make a full-length rod. I just wanted to bring that up to you if you ever took that apart and wondered why the heck it was so short. That's the reason. So anyway, let's go ahead and shoot this gun and see how she does. Now, before shooting any gun, as I always tell you, be sure to bring your eye protection as well as your hearing protection. It's never wrong to be too safe. If you got to wear gloves, that's great. Whatever you want to do. I stress safety in all my videos. Just want to make sure that nobody gets hurt. And please be careful when operating any gun. We're going to be shooting the PPU soft point today. I do have some apples set up down there so you can see the impact shots. This is a 197 grain boat tail soft point round, so it should be entertaining. I'm going to do a 3-shot group. On hot. Let's get some. Now, one thing I'll tell you, the bolt does work pretty smooth. You don't have chamber adaptation like you'll have in some other milsurps, but in comparison, in my opinion, it does not work as smooth as the Kar98. It did seem to have a little stiffness to it. Now, it may be that we still have grease on this gun. We have cleaned it several times, but we're still finding cosmoline on it. But I do find this bolt to operate a little slower than a K98, in my opinion. 3-shot group, let's clean them up. On hot, let's get some. Terrific gun. Thank you for watching, and again, please like and subscribe. We love to hear your comments. Don't hesitate to leave a comment, good or critical. Some of you guys have told us some terrific stories, and we love to hear from everyone. Try to get back to you, and if you wanted to see anything close up, just ask. We certainly will do our best to get back to you. And again, thank you for watching Treeline Sports and our Milsurp Rifle Series. Got one guy down there, it seems to be escaping. Let's see if we can get him. Got 2 rounds left. He's either going to live or die. Let's get him. So far, he's still alive. Got him. Thank you again, guys.